You already know I gotta get your take on it, man. Diddy, he got 50 months in prison. How you feeling about it, man?
Well, since this is going to be my last Art of the Dialogue interview, and the Diddy trial and the Diddy saga is over, like the Gene Deal story ain't bigger as the Diddy trial or the Diddy story. Man, I feel good, man. I feel good way before the sentencing, and I'm gonna feel good way after it. You know what I'm saying? That the sentencing don't have anything to do with how I feel. It just goes me to show that tells me when God puts you in a position and puts you in a place uh, to be involved in something, his word ain't never wrong. It is exactly what I said on my show. I said, Diddy gonna end up doing 24 months in prison. The judge gave him 50 months, but you gotta realize he already had 14 months in it, practically, and he's going to get credit for 2 months of that 14 months. That give him 16 months. He's gonna do 24 months, which is gonna give him about 30 months because he only had to do 85% in the feds, and he goes to probably a halfway house. So he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory. But for a dude like Diddy going to jail and spending all that time, I'm not saying it's going to be rough or nothing like that because his former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrows, went to federal jail. You understand? Lil Kim went to federal jail. So, because the type of dude he is, he'll make it, he'll be all right. And plus, they're going to send him to a camp, bruh. He'll be in somebody camp or somebody dormitory, whereas that it'll be real light for him. So, he'll see the streets back again in 24 months. He'll be out within 2 years. It seems like a lot saying 50 months and everything like that, but it's not really a lot. Not at all, bro. It's not a lot at all. You know what I'm saying? I know for executive, somebody who's been a jet setter, somebody who's been going all around the world, been in all kind of, stadiums, galas, and living in mansions. It's a lot of people who lived in mansions that's in federal jail. You got Senator Melendez from Jersey in jail. You got a lot of them in jail doing way more time than him. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be all right, man. I think that, uh, he got off like a fat rat in a cheese factory, bro. You know what I'm saying? He got off. Based on how the judge started the whole sentence, he was talking about coercion. He was talking about relevant conduct. He even said that with Diddy conduct and what he was doing, he should get a sizable sentence or something like that. Like his sentences should be a large sentence. And I think that, 50 months, I don't see that as being large. You know what I'm saying? It's not even a third. I think the third of the guidelines where the probation report said. I think the probation report started at 72 months. So it's almost it. What was it? That's like 72 months, 50 months, close to not even a third. It's a little over a third of what the probation report said he should get. But it is what it is.
So you feel like he got off. 50 months wasn't enough for you.
Yeah, listen to me, man. What people don't understand is they look at the Mann Act as only being something about prostitution. There's different sections. If you read the Mann Act, it talks about rape, it talks about coercion, it talks about somebody being beaten, it talks about a lot of different things in that Mann Act that gives people a lot of time because you could get up to, I think, about 135 months for that Mann Act. You understand what I'm saying? You can get up to 135 months. That's close to 10 years, I think, or better. So it's different versions, it's different sections in that whole act based on what they call relevant conduct that you do in that stuff. And Diddy did a lot of shit. He beat people. He drugged people. The judge even said this. You understand? The judge spoke about coercion. And no matter what the what you call them people, the jurors, said and thought and everything like that, the judge spoke about his coercion, his relevant conduct. The judge spoke about, mitigating circumstances, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the judge spoke about. Look at here. He got caught with drugs. Never got charged with the drugs. And the judge knew that. That's why the judge said relevant conduct. You understand? He got caught with guns. Guns in the house with the serial number. The judge knew that. You understand? Relevant conduct. You understand? That he didn't get charged with. The beating of Jane, hitting in the head, the assault, and all that stuff of Cassie. All those things, they probably couldn't. I don't guess they could have charged him with them, but it came up in the trial. All that's relevant conduct. You understand? And people don't understand all the things that he was doing. Then the judge made a point. When you go and talk to the managers and you talk to people about hiding evidence. You understand? Remember the fact in the trial when it came up that he gave a guy $100,000 and some thousand dollars or $100,000 to keep the tape that from cashing them? That's relevant conduct. Your judge was speaking about all that. So now, if he's doing that, and the judge is saying all of the stuff that he did that was wrong, what else? Having security take people, put them up in abandoned buildings and threaten them. The judge had all that information. So it was no way this judge was going to let Diddy walk away and talking about Mark Allegara, his lawyer, talk about, well, I want him to walk out of court today. I want him only had a 14 months or whatever. Come on, man. The judge, after he made those statements, they was toying with the judge because they had made so many statements. The judge had made statements prior to any one of those lawyers speaking. How the hell could they even say some of the stuff they didn't say? I thought when the lawyers, I was happy when Diddy's lawyers was speaking because they was burying him more than they was helping him. If you listen to what his lawyers was saying, based on them speaking for him, the best person that spoke for Diddy was Diddy this day. The best person that spoke for Diddy was Diddy. All that other stuff and all the things that he did and he got away with it, he going at Suge Knight and them with guns. You understand? There was testimony in the trial about that. There was testimony he going to Kid Cudi's house. Allegedly Mike having somebody set his car on fire. Tearing up all his Christmas gifts. Throwing an ashtray, hitting somebody in the head with it. Beating Cassie on multiple occasions. There was a lot of stuff that came out in the trial that the judge knew about it. So the judge couldn't just let him walk out of there with nothing. But the judge and them, listen here, bro. The judge and them gave him, not gave him, but let him off easy, bro. He got let off easy. And don't get me wrong, bro. I don't want to see a black man in jail. I don't want to see a black man in jail. But I don't care nothing about Diddy going to jail. That's a big difference to me. I never want to see a black man going to jail based on the circumstance, based on the situation, based on he may not have the legal team because a lot of us get railroaded. You understand what I'm saying? a lot of us get railroaded. So I don't never want to see no black. You know, yo, that's what these cats gonna be saying. Yo, they want to see a nigga. Nah, bro. I fought to keep guys out of jail for 27 years. But do I care about him going to jail? Nah, I don't, bro. I'm sorry. God just gonna have to take that off my heart. But that's my enemy. He made it clear. He made it clear when he was sending niggas at me, when he was doing shit, when he was setting dudes up, when he was when he cursed Wolf mother out, when he set Wolf up to go at BMF. That nigga became my enemy, bro, as well as I became his. So why should I care? He did a whole lot of shit to a whole lot of people. And now he's paying for it. So all these cats, I guess y'all get y'all visitation rights. Some of y'all can get y'all conjugal visits right with him. I don't give a shit. That's how I feel about it, bro. So his letter to the judge, you understand? I read his letter. You understand? He was talking about how, disgusting, how shameful, how sickening he was, and how what he did to Cassie, he has to dream about that night after night after night after. Come on, man. And I understand you're going to say whatever you got to say to get out of prison. And I don't blame him for that. You understand? Even stuff that I was talking about, and people was talking about, he don't know what the fuck he talking about. He admitted to, yo, Mighty, yo, Art, did I tell you that he got hooked on drugs when Kim Porter took that corkscrew and cut his wrist? They even brought that up in the trial. They brought it up today. The defense brought it up today. He brought it up in his letter that he'd been on drugs for 24 years. But then when they brought it up, he didn't say, that's because I tried to beat my baby mama ass and she cut my wrist. They didn't add that to, that's why he had the operation on his wrist. You understand? They left that part out. But that's how he got hooked on those opiates. So now, the letter that he wrote the judge, I guess the judge looked at that because he mentioned it. And then you got to understand too, his kids spoke. He spoke about the kids in his letter, that he wanted to be a father, he wanted to be a son and all that. And then the kids ended up speaking in trial. So if the judge was looking at the probation minimum of 72 years, he may have a change of heart, because after Diddy spoke, he went and he said, we're going to do a 5-minute break. And he came back and did the sentencing. This was the longest sentencing probably in the history of the federal court, bro. I don't think it's been a sentencing this long in federal court. Usually they take 2.5 hours. You understand? 2.5, maybe 3 hours. This took what? 6, 7 hours. 6, 7 hours for the sentencing. He let everybody on Diddy's team speak. Each one of the lawyers. Not only one lawyer spoke about the victims. Only one lawyer spoke about the victims. And I think that was a setup, because Diddy spoke about the victims. And that was Cassie and Jane. You know, he apologized to them for bringing Jane into his life and the whole 9 yards and bringing her to his mess. But none of the lawyers spoke about the victim. One lawyer, the lady, she was crying on the stand. Did you know she was crying on the stand?
Nah, I ain't hear about that.
The female lawyer was crying on the stand, man. That shit is crazy, man. But the judge said he's a puppet. The judge said, no, the prosecutor said he's a master puppeteer. He's a master puppeteer, she said. That shit was crazy to me, man. It was real crazy. Yo, and the lawyers, when they were speaking on Diddy being in prison and the circumstances him being in prison, I didn't never hear about this, and nobody ever said anything about this. And I want to know if it's in the prison records. They said one of the guards stopped a dude from shanking Diddy. Now, I'm like, if he was doing all this positive shit in jail, and they was talking about he was all the inmates loved him and they was employing him and doing standing ovation. I wonder what inmate was trying to shake him. Was that one of the Tupac? Was that one of the Tupac fans, or that was one of Biggie fans? Because they said that the guard. They said that in court. One of the lawyers, one of the guards, stopped one of the individuals that was trying to shank him, bro. And that was crazy. Nobody. I never. That didn't leak. Everything leaks from prison, but that didn't leak. Nobody wrote home and said, yo, dudes is in here trying to stab Diddy up. But the lawyers mentioned that today. I want to see if they're going to investigate that right there. You know what I'm saying? And base that, or he probably used that, base that on trying to help Diddy getting into one of those camps or one of those programs that, you know, he ain't got to worry about nothing. And what's crazy is this, he got to worry about something now. You understand? Because he thought he ain't had to worry about nothing because he thought he was going to a speaking engagement. They was that bold enough to be setting up speaking engagements as if he was going to get out of jail. They were saying that he was going to get out of jail. He had speaking engagements set up for Miami. The judge heard that, and I guess the judge was like, whoa, hold up. And then they brought in the guy from reentry who was an ex-prisoner who now he does reentry in Miami. I'm familiar with the reentry programs because we used to use them for the state too. Now, this guy spoke and said that it was more so not like a speaking engagement. It was more like a healing session. Hold up, you forgot the funny shit. Yo, they said this dude, one of the lawyers said that Diddy was a civil rights activist now. Can you believe that shit? He said he was a civil rights activist. I was like, they are going for they dropping all the jewels now. They trying to get this mofo out. They don't care what they gotta say, what lies they gotta tell. They on getting his way out, man. And if it was anybody else other than him, I would have been like, yo, get that brother out. When you don't care about your enemies, you don't care about people you don't f with, it didn't make a bit of difference to me. Let him go ahead and look back and see all the shit that he did. You know, and I believe he did, because once those drugs start wearing out his system, once he don't need those opiates no more, if he was off of them, you know, it wasn't no proof. He ain't had no drug tests when he was in prison. You know what I'm saying? Drugs come through all those systems just like anywhere else. So then who's to say that he wasn't on some kind of substance? You know what I'm saying? But and once he got drug free and he's no longer those using those drugs now, he started getting his clarity back on who he may was, or who he should have been, or what he should have been doing. And maybe he's thinking about all the people that he did wrong to, and he don't have the drugs to cloud his mind no more. Don't you know that they said he was traumatized by the notorious, they didn't even use Big's name. They said He was traumatized by his friend that was in the drive-by shooting in LA. Yo, my brother, I was like, these lawyers will say any damn thing. They'll say anything right now to try to get this dude to walk out this door today. But they gave him 50 months, bro. They gave him 50 months. You know what I'm saying? And 50 months, uh, it wouldn't be hard to do in no camp or no kind of program. He'll be all right. Like I said, if Kirk Burrows did a couple of years in the federal penitentiary, Lil Kim did a couple of years in the federal penitentiary, he'll be all right. He ain't gonna have no problem with that. They said that Diddy, yo, check it out. They said that Diddy started his own re-entry program and made up his own program in the prison system. Now, he didn't do any of this stuff until after he didn't take, hold up, he didn't take no drug courses, no drug classes. He didn't take, he wasn't doing none of that stuff until after he came off the trial and he only had the Mann Act. So what the lawyers did was, the lawyers then went and told him, yo, you got to see if you could start a program. You got to see if you could do some things, so we could face this with the judge. And because this judge was a new judge, they tried to pull a wool over his eyes by saying Diddy was doing all these programs, Diddy was doing all this stuff, you understand, because he's a better person and now he knows right from wrong. Now he knows right from wrong and everything. The only thing that was heartbreaking for me to hear in this whole trial thing and this whole and it was heartbreaking, man. This broke my heart, man, and I don't give a F about this dude. When Quincy said he's my father. When Quincy said he was my father, and that broke my heart, bro. Cause I know Al B. Sure. And I know Al is his father. Diddy might have been his daddy. And for him to go that damn hard and get up there and say what he said, that's the only thing that like broke my heart about this whole shit, bro. You understand? Cause I know how Puff, when I was with him, how he treated Kim. And I can imagine when he got to be Diddy and Brother Love and the way some of the stuff Roger Bond said about him, you understand, and how he was doing Kim, that it was crazy. But I know Kim had got brave enough where she was defending herself. So my whole thing about it is that, man, that I know that broke Al heart too, bro. And I'm gonna give him a call because, Quincy don't understand that he was brainwashed too. You understand? And a lot of shit that Al didn't do and couldn't come around is because of Kim was in fear of Puff doing something to Quincy and try to have something to do with Al. You understand what I'm saying? But to see that dude go out like that, that was nasty to me, man. Because Al is a good dude. You know what? Al, you know what I'm saying? Al is, like I was saying, brother, Al is a good dude. And, when I heard, Quincy and all the other kids, they was apologizing for their father and they was apologizing for Puff and saying he's a changed man. And they apologized to Cassie. They apologized to how their father was treating the women. And when I heard the girls them say, I could tell by talking to him now, he's changed and everything. He's changed. That showed to me that he was really not a good person to them. Because they was talking about how much he changed. Or either they was just saying that. Either they was just saying he was changed, you understand? Because do you really believe that he's remorseful for doing all the shit that he did to Cassie, or any other woman that was involved? You know what I'm saying? With all these lawsuits that's coming out, we're gonna find out that it's a lot of other women that he probably put their hands on. There's a lot of other women he probably put their hands on, bruh. With all these other lawsuits come on, because you know you can't believe because you seen that Cassie video that that's the only one. If he was doing that, Gina said it. Man, you know, we could watch and see, bro. Because I heard somebody, like 2 or 3 other people file lawsuits today. So they're going to be going at him, bro. They're going to be going at him. And that's just a place where they're going to know he's going to be at for the next 2 or 3 years so they can have them papers served on him. Because it's easy to serve them papers on him now because they know he's in the prison system. So a lot of lawsuits going to be served on him right now. Watch and see what I tell you. Though this is just a small part of it, man, I believe that Kim Porter, Big, Craig Mack, Black Rob, and I'm not going to even Wolf, Riz, I'm just mentioning the people in the Bad Boy family, bro, is that they can rest in peace knowing that some kind of justice has happened to dude for all his antics, all the shit that he put people through, all the things that he's done. You understand? Kim Porter decide not to deal with dude no more, bro. Kim Porter decide that she wasn't taking those ass whoopings no more. Hold on. Kim Porter had decided she wasn't taking those ass whoopings no more. Kim Porter decided she wasn't dealing with Puff no more. You understand? But she may be turning on his over in his grave knowing that his son would even say something about he taught me how to treat women like queens when he got a court case coming up himself. Christian Combs. He said, my father taught me how to treat women like queens. What? Do you know what you do you know what your father is on trial for? Is that the new Diddy that taught you how to do that? Because if you learn from the old Diddy, I'm waiting for Chick to come up with a black eye or something. But in his testimony, my father taught me how to treat women like queens. And I know the judge is looking at that stuff like they just talking. And I don't understand why the judge just the judge let everybody on Diddy team talk, bro. Everybody on Diddy team talk. And that's unusual. That's very much unusual in a sentencing. So he was compassionate and he gave a heartfelt speech to Diddy and them, saying that they'll get through this, they'll be all right. And 50 years is light. 50 months is light. Based in the federal court, bro. A lot of people don't walk out of there, it'd be 100 and better. You understand? The average sentences in the federal court is like 120 something and better. So Diddy won today. Did you know that? He won. People may not look at it, but he won. He only got, I guess they're going to be dancing in front of the court today and like they did last time, spraying baby oil and stuff because he only got 50 months.
You knowing Diddy personally, how do you think he's taking this?
Well, me knowing Diddy personally, and back, I know the old Diddy. The old Diddy probably would have fell on his knees crying and going crazy. But you got to realize we looking at the 2025 Diddy that was on all kinds of drugs. You know, like he said, those 20-something years that he was on the drug changed him, bro. Changed who he was as a person, a man, a friend, a fellow crew member. It changed him. He was no longer the dude that we knew as Puff. So my whole thing about it is that that old Diddy would have fell out. He wouldn't. He couldn't take it. He wasn't built like that. But drugs and money and power change who people are. And this Diddy, you know, was a changed dude. So now he'll come out probably a better person. Because I don't think he would ever want to, ever after this, do anything to get back in jail. But then again, I've seen dudes that say they ain't going back and they go back. I've seen dudes come out and say they never going back and they never go back. You never know. I just believe that this all is going to change him for the better. It may. I hope it do. For his sake. Bro, this is how I feel about him getting 50 months. And I will say this anywhere to anybody. Any other black man, I don't believe the prison system is a system for rehabilitation. I wouldn't want any other black man to go to jail and be rehabilitated unless it was for kill them or beat them half to death, if it was for doing something to somebody, mother, or doing crimes against women. What else? Some heinous anything against children. Yo, I'll pull a switch. I'll shoot the gun. I'll do anything to brothers who on that type of time. You understand? I don't believe that the prison system is a rehabilitation system for anybody. You know what I'm saying? And I think we should take on like some other countries. And I know it's crazy for that rape and doing shit to kids and stuff like that to women. Yo, get rid of them. You know, they shouldn't be here. That's my own personal opinion. For the fact that Diddy going to jail, bruh, I don't have no problem with that. I'm glad that something that can happen to him, something that could stop his madness, something that shows us that I don't care how much money you got, I don't care how powerful you think you are. If they want you, they still gonna get you. And that's why he's in the position that he's in now. It may not be 70, 170 like the probation say months. It may not be 135 months, but when they want you, they gonna get you. They wanted him. They got him. Point blank.
Do you think that Diddy booking a speaking arrangement had any kind of effect on his sentencing?
I think nothing that happened in court today played a part in Diddy's sentencing. You know what I'm saying? The judge had all the evidence. The judge had that evidence that when the prosecutor brought it forth to the courts, The judge already have the evidence, bro. He have all their statements. He have all their what they're gonna present in court. So anything other than the victim's personal statements that got up, the judge didn't know about. The judge didn't know what the kids was gonna say. No, the judge didn't know what the lawyers was gonna say. Their last words. But the judge had already had in his mind, because he knew that he has put up speaking engagements and all like that. He already had in his mind that that Diddy had planned to do speaking engagements, because Diddy had planned to be out this week. So it may have made a difference, a somewhat difference in the judge's opinion of time. Because I can't believe the way he started off the sentence, bruh. The way the judge started off when he spoke about the coercion and the relevant conduct, when he spoke about giving Diddy a lot of years and only came back with 50 years, he fooled everybody. 50 months. He spoke about getting Diddy a lot of years. You understand? He said this crime deserves a lot of years, but he only gave him 50 months. So I guess he looked at Diddy criminal history, Diddy, what he was doing into society or whatever like that, and said 50 months is a lot of months for him. But anybody else who's been in the prison system, anybody else who's been dealing with the courts and probably has some crimes under their belt, anybody else with this whole charge probably got way more months than Diddy got. Way more years than he got. So I don't believe that it played a big part. Anything that happened today played a big part on the judge's decision. I just believe the judge said that, listen, the prosecution is right about a lot of shit. The defense is right about a lot of shit. I got to make sure that the people understand that you're not going to be able to do this crime and get away with it. And if you could do 4.5 years in jail for doing this crime, you understand? Man, I'm going to let you know you're going to get 4.5 years or better. I'm going to set some kind of precedent. Now, there's people that got way more years than that for the same crime. That's what the prosecution showed. They was in there showing because it was other elements other than prostitution. It was, like I said, relevant conduct, beating people, threatening people, coercion, all those things that had something to do with this.
Yeah, I feel you. You got some people though that, they feel like, Kristen Combs, him, doing push-ups and dancing outside the courtroom, that played a part in Diddy getting 50 months.
I don't believe, like the antics that the judge seen outside the courtroom and the stuff that happened, all the celebration. I think the defense hurt Diddy more than they helped Diddy. I think the defense hurt Diddy more than they helped Diddy, because they had this celebratory attitude because they got him off the RICO, got him off the other charges and stuff like that. If they wouldn't have went there and just went quiet and waited, the judge may have did some time served type of things. But everything that happened after the trial, them still trying to get bail, them saying that the judge was being unfair, a lot of things that happened, the celebratory manner in which they did, the judge looked at that shit, was like, yeah, okay, all right, I'm gonna give him something. It may not be what everybody want. He definitely not going home. He's definitely not going home, but because of their antics, and that was basically the defense. Because the defense was still victim shaming. Don't you know what you call said that Cassie wanted it? One of the lawyers said Cassie wanted it. And they supposed to speak for Diddy. So if they victim shaming and your own lawyers is not showing that you have any remorse for doing the shit you're doing, those are the people who speak for you. So what the judge gonna do? Okay, let me show him. He won't be walking home today. He won't be going home today. And that's what happened. Bruh, the judge know it was a good trial, and the trial went basically in the defense favor. They was asking for a retrial on the Mann Act. You understand? Then one of the defense lawyers said that he in court today, he would have pled guilty to the Mann Act if it wasn't the other charges on there. What? The Mann Act is more than just prostitution, bro. And you got to read that whole stuff. So the prosecution was like, they not showing no remorse to none of the victims. And them not showing no remorse to none of the victims. And like I told you, out of 5 of the Diddy lawyers that spoke, not one of them talked about 4 of them out of the 5, none of them talked about he was sorry for the victims. And that's what the judge was looking for. And Diddy said that. And when he said to the court, he said how he was sorry, how he felt bad. And it was because of his drug abuse and stuff like that that he did the stuff that he did.
Have you seen these sketches of Diddy crying in court after getting 50 months? Check your phone right quick.
Man, looking at these pictures, Diddy in court, the artist got him, looking at these pictures with Diddy in court, bruh, the artist got him crying. The artist got him holding his head. The artist got him dropping to his knees at the time of the verdict, crying on the chair. My heart goes out and it says, fuck him and feed him beans. I can care less about his sadness. I can care less about him being in pain. I can care less about what he has to be faced with in court or in jail now. I don't have no remorseful feelings for him, bro. You understand? This is somebody that at one time I would have given my own life for. And to know this nigga was trying to get people to take my life because I was trying to teach them to be right by people and tell them to be right by people. I have no remorse for this dude, bro. To see him like that, I know there is a God. And you can feel all the way you want to feel about me. You can say whatever you want to say about me. But karma is a mother. And if it ever gets back to you when you have done somebody wrong, not just me, I'm not saying me, I'm saying when you have done people wrong, you have done goals of people wrong, to see him on his knees begging like that, I would say something, but the LGBT community will be after me. So you'll never hear me say it, so I don't want to get in trouble with it. But bruh, I'm happier than a faggot in a barrel of dicks to see him like that.
So you don't got no kind of sympathy for him, seeing them pictures, him crying and.
Bro, let me just tell you something, man. God is good. I don't have no sympathy. I never have sympathy for somebody who was trying to take me from mine. You understand? Was he thinking about when he was telling people to get at Big Gene, to do this to Big Gene? Was he thinking about what if them dudes would have did that? Would he been thinking about me? Nah, bruh. Would he broke down and start crying for me? Nah, bruh. I don't have no sympathy for him. To see him like that, I know God is good. And God showed him. He can make you, he can break you. And I'm going to say it again. You might get flagged for this. I'm happier than a faggot in a barrel of dicks, bruh. Don't you see the smile on my face? Bruh, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't have no sympathy at all. Because I know he could play all the games he want to play. Did he have sympathy when he said, I don't give a fuck if Pac gotta die. I don't give a fuck if Big gotta die. Suge Knight can go to jail. Did he have any sympathy when he said to Wolf, I don't need you no more? Meech said, I don't need you no more. Set him off. Do you have sympathy when he told D Ferg, nah, I can't do that. Nah, I don't fuck with you. Nah, I can't do that like that. Did he have sympathy when he said to Wolf Mama, your son has delusions of grandeur. All he want to do is smoke weed and get high. Do you have sympathy for the notorious Big Mama? Talking about, I didn't go to the funeral. He ain't go to the funeral. Did he have sympathy for Craig Mack? Do you have sympathy for Black Rob to make sure he did the right thing by them? And he sure didn't have no damn sympathy for me when he told dudes to come at me. So looking at those pictures, bruh, I could tell you just like this, with no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I'm happier than a faggot in a barrel of dicks. You could take that any kind of way you want to.
Keefe D, his trial begins in February, and his defense is the reason why he killed Tupac is because of Puffy. Puffy, he put a hit out on him and Suge, and I don't know, man, it ain't looking too good for Puffy.
Brother, you know what? With a murder trial, you can't only use circumstantial evidence. You have to have some kind of physical evidence. There's no physical evidence that Keefe D killed or had something to do with Pac's death. There's circumstantial evidence. There's people that could probably testify or what somebody told them or heard. So now, Keefe D, lawyers and them did a great job when they did trial by judge. Because the judge is looking for physical evidence. What ties Keefe D to Puff? What ties Keefe D to the murder of Tupac? And how could they prove that either one of them has something to do with it? Somebody would have to get on the stand and say that I saw him, he told me, and they want to have to believe them. So, do they believe Keefe D? If he told a lot of different stories, you got to realize he may have told more than one or two stories because he tell that story now. What about the stories he told prior to this? You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to look at that. You're going to look at, okay, did he get the money? Where's the money at? Who got the money? Who wrote the check? Who paid the money? Where did it come from? When did it come from? It's a lot of mitigating circumstances in that whole case that is going to be hard to prove. You could easily say anything, but you got to look at that. Keefe D defense is going to say, okay, this was a gang situation. Then you hear, Suge telling Pac on one of the things that he told Pac, yo, listen to me, bruh, you done got involved into some gang stuff now, and things might be different. You understand? Because gangs might be involved now. Yo, bro, let me tell you, back in the day, I was there. Let me just say, and what I mean I was there is that, don't you know that a lot of people was coming up dead? There was so many shootings out of LA about crazy. It's a lot of people that came up dead behind that shit. The Bloods was laying people down. But behind Pac getting shot. It was a big, it sparked a big gang war out there. So, if they want to pull Diddy into that, they got to mitigate circumstantial evidence. Anybody could be a witness for you, but what can they prove? Somebody's going to have to say, I heard this conversation. This was a handshake or a nod or something went down, and it's going to be hard to prove. It's going to be hard to prove. Unless they follow the money. They were always saying stuff and they try to make it seem like I said it. I never said it. All I said was I saw a check for $1 million, right? Eric Von Zip had a check for $1 million, and he said he got it from Al Heyman. Not Al Heyman. What's the dude's name? He was married to Gladys Knight. Black Ground Records. Barry Hankerson. And he said, I got this check from Barry Hankerson, and what's the other dude's name? Jimmy Henchman. And it's for me selling my record label to him. I said, I didn't know you had a record label. When he showed us, and I said us the check. When he showed us the check, it wasn't only me. I said, dog, when did he get a record label? That's what I said to my man. He was like, oh, you know how he is. And you know that there was a beef between Pac and Jimmy Henchman. You understand? And you know Jimmy Henchman and Puff was close. If they try to go that route and look at that and see if that was the route, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But me being an investigator, I would have looked into that. If Keefe D says that he was trying to get his money from Puff through Zip, and he got that money through, that money was going to say, and they could trace it back to them, and both of those people could say that, then they got him. But that's going to be hard to prove, because I don't believe that may have happened. I don't know why he had to check for $1 million. It wasn't my concern at no time. But I know he had a check for $1 million. And I know what he said he got the check for $1 million for. It was for Black Ground Records. So that's the truth. So people can measure it and say whatever they want to say, but that's what happened.
You think Diddy should try to get a pardon from Trump?
I think that he's going to use every method, whether it's appeals, whether it's Trump. He's going to use every method he can to get out of jail earlier than what he can. He's going to use all his resources to do whatever he has to do. You understand what I'm saying? And That's what he's supposed to do. Don't you think so? He's supposed to use all his resources he can to get out of jail.
You think Trump would do it?
I don't know. Trump is a very vindictive person, and like he said, he didn't say he didn't say I used to like the guy, but he didn't say a lot of nice things to me about me. So if it would come by, if it come by his desk and if it's something is monetary to Trump and it's his last year, but Diddy should be out before Trump last year. He only gonna do 2 years, bruh. He go 2 years, he go to a halfway house. That's it.
You think Diddy is strong enough to do 2 years?
I just told you, bruh. Kirk Burrows, Kirk Burrows, Lil Kim. There's a lot of other people in the music industry that done federal time.
Because you told me he was suicidal. That's why I asked.
Everybody's suicidal when they first go to prison. Everybody's suicidal. If you've never been to prison before, you've never been behind bars, everybody is suicidal. Then you get used to it. It becomes your livelihood. You learn how to stay alive. You got a crust of bread in the corner to sleep in. Everything else is a blessing. It was something that was powerful that Diddy said. He said to the judge, he said, I can't change the past, but I can change the future. As if that he knew if the judge would let him out today, that he was going to do some things that was going to be powerful, whether it's in the industry, whether it was in this new life that he said he was going to do with the drug treatment programs, with the domestic violence. See, that's the avenue that he probably used now. You know what I'm saying? Get into it, because he can't go back to the music industry because he wasn't doing nothing in the music industry anyway. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would have him marketed anything unless it's Astroglide and Baby Oil. So he can't do the marketing thing right now. So he may be trying to look at the drug treatment programs and setting up different type of nonprofit agencies. You understand? Because them people make a whole lot of money on government grants, federal grants, state grants, city grants. So that might be his new avenue. Because he said he can't change the past. He's recognizing that, and he's going to look to the future. So we'll see. He'll be all right. I just got, if I could say one thing to him, in all honesty, don't drop the soap.
When Diddy does get out, what direction you think he should go in?
My personal opinion, when he get out, and if he wants to do anything that is going to give him any kind of recognition or any sense of changing, he should do whatever he learned in those uh, rehabilitation classes with reentry, with drug treatment, with domestic violence, open up some nonprofit agencies that people can get help from, or he can use his platform for doing the right thing by people that has been wrong, whether it's in domestic violence or in drug treatment. I think he should go in that route.
What you think about Diddy complaining about the living conditions in prison?
It's prison. He's not the only one in those conditions. You got to realize there's other inmates in that dormitory that has the same shit he has, and they don't have a commissary that he has. You got to realize they have a commissary, and he's going to get the best out of the commissary because he's able to use all the money he got to get whatever in the commissary. And then the people around him, he could put money in their commissary. Have people money in their commissary so they can get double of what they got. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, he said they got to boil the drinking water in prison.
Man, I don't believe that shit, man. I don't believe nothing those lawyers say. They ain't have to boil no drinking water, bruh. They did not have to boil no drinking water. They just those lawyers is just talking. They have to bring that up like that and say that and make it's gonna be deplorable conditions for him. That's what it is.
Gene Deal, man, great interview. Before we end it, man, let the people know what you got going on and what's popping, man.
Well, I'm finished with my third book. It should be out uh by I got to get a special date that I could put the third book out on, because if it don't come out by my birthday, which is October the 16th, I'm actually doing it by my oldest daughter's birthday, November the 13th. Um, I have that, and I have to rebrand my liquor because they end up finding a wine that was called Wanted. So we got to rebrand my liquor. I have my third book coming out. People go and watch. If you want to get details and have fun and have adult conversations, and it's just me, subscribe to the Gene Deal Show. It's on YouTube. We have fun. We talk about a lot of shit, and it'd be a lot of grown folk stuff in there. So go and subscribe to the Gene Deal Show on YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram, Big Gene underscore 5 deuce 52. And when the liquor come out, and I got Tim Harris in St. Louis, Missouri. He has a Cigar Gentleman's podcast that they are. He's trying to get me a cigar now. So I'm working with the cigar company. I'm working with the liquor company from changing Wanted into a new name. So we're working all that stuff to get it out. And I'm here, man. You know what I'm saying? My story of being a bodyguard and being a father, being a law enforcement officer, being a dude that was giving parties in the streets of New York and having fun, or with the same gang, Slick and the Family, Black Hands Entertainment. All that is in my books. My books are, if you go online and look at them on Amazon, you can get them. It's a nice read. Please go and check them out. You can order them directly from me. I'll sign them and send them directly to you. Y'all take care. I appreciate all the stuff that y'all been doing. I appreciate you, Art, for going through this whole adventure with us, through this whole Diddy thing. And I got a lot of opinion on a lot of other things, and maybe we'll see each other soon.